The Maggid of Koznitz once came to him, a woman and her brother. She was an agune for years. She could not find her husband. She came crying to the Koznitz Maggid. If she can just find her husband, she can get a get, she can move on in life. Koznitz Maggid said they should bring in a shissel full of water. Pail with water. He told the woman to look in the water. What do you see? It's like Disney all of a sudden. It was like 3D. She was like traveling. She says, I see a country. I see the rooftops. Yeah. What do you see? I see a city. I'm in the marketplace right now. He says, pay attention. Pay good attention. And she says, yes, we're taking a right. We're taking a left. And he says, how do the houses look? She describes the big houses, small houses, buildings. She describes everything exactly the way it is. And all of a sudden they get to the end of a street and there's a big factory. And she sees through the window. There's a whole bunch of tailors that are working on the tables. And there's a guy standing there and pressing these fancy gloves. This is my husband. The Maggid says, quickly grab the glove. I'm telling you, just grab it. So she put her hand in the bucket and she grabbed the glove and she pulled it out. And it was still hot because it was pressed. It was still hot. The Koznitz Maggid said, you hold on to it, don't lose it. You need to have this. This will make sure with this mitten you'll know you have your get. What do I do now? He said, now, for Gesundheit. Where should I go? For Gesundheit. That was it. So she left. Where's she supposed to go? Maggid didn't say. For Gesundheit. Okay. So she was walking, and there was some guy traveling. It was a wagon driver, like those taxis on Ostrin. They stop every 2 minutes. Beep. So the guy says, "You guys need a ride?" They said, "Yeah, sure." They jumped on the wagon. He didn't ask any questions. So he started to go. The woman and her brother fell asleep. When they woke up, they felt they were pushed out of the wagon. The guy pushed them out. They just ended up in a place. I don't know where they are. So where are we? The woman says, "Hey, I recognize this place. I saw this place in the bucket." So the brother says, "No, okay. It's good. You got the mutt in your hand?" She says, "Yes, I got it." "Okay, come on. Start giving us directions. GPS. Where are we going?" So she's looking, okay. She starts walking. She takes a right and a left. It's familiar. She knows where she's going. Until she finally comes to the end of that one block. There's a factory. It looks exactly the way she saw it in the bucket of water. And she looks through the window. And there he is. Her husband. So the brother says, maybe we shouldn't jump in there. It might not be that wise. Why don't we first go and find out? Maybe there's a rabbi in town. Go to the road. They found out there was a choshev of Mordechai, and they went to the rabbi. And they told the woman came and cried, told the Mordechai she was on Buddha for many, many years. She went to the Heiliko Koznitz Maggid, and the Maggid told the whole story. She saw the mitten. Oh, that guy that owns that tailor shop? I know him for years. I've been living years in this town. He has a wife, he has children. What are you talking about? The woman says, look, this is the mitten. I'm coming from the Koznitz Maggid. Can you please help? Don't worry. So the woman, he told the woman to go into a side room, and he told the shamash to bring him the tailor. This Jewish tailor. Jewish tailor comes in, and the Rav says, "Is this your first marriage? The woman I know you're living with is your first marriage?" She says, "Sure, my first marriage." "Never married before?" He said, "Never married. I came here to town, and so I met my wife. You know, don't you know me, Rabbi? We know for years. You know me for years." "What were you doing today?" He says, "Rabbi, what kind of questions are this? I'm a tailor, I do for high-end, for pritzim, I have rich customers. Anything extraordinary happened today?" He said, "Oh, You wouldn't believe it. Everyone in the factory will tell you something that never happened. I finished pressing a mitten, and all of a sudden it was like a bird. It went flying out of the window. It went just straight out. No one cared. It just went into the ear. The rabbi said, "How about if I return the mitten to you?" Impossible. He said, "Okay, it's very possible." He called in the woman, and the guy says, "Yeah, this is the mitten." Says the rabbi, "But who is carrying the mitten?" He looked up and he fainted. When they revived him, he was ready to give the get. So the woman came back home with her get.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
This story is told in the Sefer Tzipurim Neiron from Yaakov Kadana. Rabbi Yaakov Kadana was a chassid of the Tzemach Tzedek. He said he heard it from people that were there b'shas Ma'aseh. This book, heard it from people that were there. This book, Tzipurim Neiron, in the Sheva Brachas, the Rebbe, his father-in-law, told him that in the Sheva Brachas you have to spend time with the Kala. The Rebbe used to sit and learn. Sadat Pella used to learn 18 hours a day, 20 hours. It's like unbelievable. His father-in-law wanted that his daughter should have 7 days with the chazon. So he said, "You can't learn those 7 days." But his father-in-law gave him a gift. He gave him the books to put him in a Neiroim from Yaakov Kadana. He says, "You can read the stories in the Sipurim Neiroim." So this story is in the book Sipurim Neiroim from Yaakov Kadana. Why am I telling you the story? You'll see soon why I'm telling you. It's a very important story. It's not just a story with a mitten flying in the sky, but it's actually very relevant to this Shabbos chazon. And Chassidus says that Shabbos chazon is the biggest Shabbos. You know, when you learn Chassidus, Rosh Hashanah is the biggest day. Then when you come to Yom Kippur, Yom Kippur is the biggest day. And then when you come to Simchas Torah, there's no bigger day. Purim, there's no bigger day. But what's the difference? Right now is Shabbos chazon. And I tell you, in Chassidus it says there's no bigger day than Shabbos chazon. The Welt always says, "Oh, Shabbos Nachamu is a big Shabbos. Shabbos chazon is a sad Shabbos," right? No. Chassidus is the other way around. Shabbos chazon is gewaltig. There's nothing bigger than Shabbos chazon. So look here at this at Tzemach Tzedek, Oira Torah. The last 3 lines talks about the 3 weeks. It talks about the 3 weeks. Bein HaMetzarim is man kamoyu. It says the time and space. The Bein HaMetzarim is the remedy. Just look at the last line. Umachazon v'tachazena eineinu. And there's a footnote there. Nida kavona shemeshabbos chazon yiv v'tachazena eineinu. From the Shabbos chazon, we say chazon Yeshayahu ben Amutz. Simple reading is that there is a vision that Yeshayahu sees, the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. And the Tzemach Tzedek says, no, chazon means v'sachazenu eineinu b'shuv chlutzim barachma. What we're really seeing in the Shabbos, we're seeing the Beis HaMikdash. We'll read it inside, but before we read it inside, this is a very, very important story that was told by the Hillel Parich to the extent that was ended up in a Maimach Chassidus of the Tzemach Tzedek. The Hillel Parich was from the big Chassidim of the Mittler Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek. The Hillel Parich was a Goin, Otzim was a Talmud Chochem. Tzemach Tzedek said he had 2.5 Chassidim. The half a Chassid was Reb Hillel. What was the other half? The other half he was a Rebbe. And the Tzemach Tzedek used to send him out. Tzemach Tzedek was too busy. At that time, hundreds of thousands of Chassidim. And this is in Russia before the pogroms of 1880. And there were hundreds of thousands of Chassidim all over. And the Reb Hillel used to travel. He was the traveling Rebbe. He used to come around. He used to take kvitlach from people, give them brochas. There's remarkable stories of miracles of the brochas of Reb Hillel Parich. And when he passed away, he was buried with the oil. People used to go every year to his on his yortzeit to his cave. His yortzeit is actually the 10th of Av, the day after Tisha B'Av. So the Hillel Parich said that basically this is a story he heard from Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchev. Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchev said that there was once a father that loved his child. So they went to the tailor. He made him fancy schmancy suit. terrific material, beautiful suit tailored for the son. Not from TJ Maxx, not from Century 21. Ashmata. He bought him. He went to a tailor and he got him a nice suit. The kid went Shabbos to shul, came back home. The suit was ripped. It was shamat. The kid probably went Shabbos to Beis Menachem Mendel. So at the Fabrega, exactly, he was hanging out. So father went with him again to the tailor. Again, best material. Got him a beautiful suit tailored. Kid goes out one day, comes back. Suit is ripped. It's garbage. Father goes with him to the tailor a third time. Makes beautiful suit. Come home, he hangs it up. Son expects it. Okay, oitcha. Father says, "You look, it's a nice suit." The son says, "Yes, beautiful. I'd like to wear it, but you're not gonna wear it. When I know that I could trust you, that you're going to wear the suit and you're not going to soil it, you're not going to rip it to shreds, I'm going to give it to you." Every now and again, the father opens the closet and he shows the son the suit. He says, "You see it? I want to give it to you, but I'm waiting for the time that I could trust you, that you're not going to rip it to shreds." So Levi Yitzchak Bedicheva said the Eibishter gave first the Beis Hamikdash to Jewish people. They ripped it to shreds. Or the Churban Beis Hamikdash. So immediately, 70 years later, he gave him a second Beis Hamikdash, nicer even than the first. Godel Yeh Kvoid Zeh Acher Yosem and Arishan was a beautiful Beis Hamikdash. Again, they ripped it to shreds. They soiled it. It was a Churban. Immediately, the Eibishter rebuilt the third Beis Hamikdash. It's parked somewhere in heaven, and it's waiting to come down into this earth. Once a year, the Rebbeinu Shalom opens the closet. Every Jew has a chazon. Every Yid sees Shabbos chazon. Every Yid sees the Beis Hamikdash, and the Rebbeinu Shalom shows it to us for a purpose. The purpose is that He wants us to see it and get such a cheshek, just like the child in the mashal, who has a yearning when he wants to know that his father already trusts him. He says, "Daddy, when can I have my nice suit?" And that cheshek encourages the kid to prove himself to his father that he could trust him with it. So the Eibishter shows us the Beis Hamikdash once a year on Shabbos chazon, to encourage us that we should prove ourselves that we are trustworthy to get the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. And therefore this Shabbos is the greatest Shabbos of any other Shabbos in the year. If you think about it, without the Chassidus Shabbat, Shabbos Nachenu gets a special name. I get it. Nachemu Ami, right? Shabbos HaGodel. You get a good name. Okay. Shabbos HaGodel. Big miracle. Shabbos Tshuva. Tshuva Yisrael. It's time to do Tshuva. When is the Rav going to give a drasha? Wednesday afternoon? Shabbos Tshuva drasha. Okay? I get it. But Shabbos Chazon, what does it get the special name? How does it deserve to get a special name, Chazon? If Chazon means it's such a negative thing, it's about the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash, why is it that the minig of the Jews is to call it Shabbos Chazon? What's special about it? We gave it a special name, a plaque, Shabbos Chazon. According to the Chassidus, no, because this is the greatest Shabbos in the year. Once a year, the Rebbeinu Shalom shows us the Beis Hamikdash, and that creates in us such a yearning that we for sure become deserving to have the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi. Let's read it inside. It's the small. It's in the footnote, the last footnote here. Bebichel Derushe Reb Hillel Parich. In one of the books of the Maimorim of Reb Hillel Parich. Reb Hillel Parich used to say Maimorim too. Matzosiv in Shabbos Chazon, V'zel L'shoin. In Shabbos Chazon, what's the idea of Shabbos Chazon? Why is it called Shabbos Chazon? What's unique about it? Shamatim mi Avimoiri shesiper b'shem Arav Mebarditchev Mishmose begins in Meroimim Beisa Yosef b'Shabbos Anal b'Kehila Kedisha Barin Moshel Alzeh Ma'av sheyesh lo ben Yaakov, a father that has a precious son. He loves his son. The son is precious to him. He makes him a very expensive cloth that the child should wear it. Because the child was negligent and he did furthermore actions that are inappropriate. He went climbing, He said, what do you want from me? Kids come out with my wife buys a nice, brand new white Shabbat shoes. It comes back, it's schwarz, it's choshech, it's ripped, it's torn. We only were playing. We were only playing. We were trying to climb up in the gate, coming down from the gate. Also, loy pam sheni lavush. Father immediately made him a second lavush. The Koro Gamkin, the same thing happened again. Ma also ab also loy beged shlishi. What did the father do? Immediately made him a third beged. Veloy nosen loy lil b'shoisei. He didn't give it to the child. Ragonzoi, he hid it. Well, the prokem rechoikim yeduim, and from time to time. Maraloy alavush, he shows him the lavush. Vaymerloy, he says to the child, if you're going to go on the straight road, I'm going to give you this cloak. Lil b'shoisei, so you can wear it. With this, he encourages the child to go b'derech hayosher. Till the father knows that this is already a nature at the child to be trustworthy and mature. Then the father gives him the cloak. He's not scared anymore. And now the father, the plan is that he won't give it to him until he knows that it's a child's nature to be responsible, not just he knows that the child is be'etzem responsible. V'zeu in Shabbos chazon l'shemarze. Shemarin l'chol echad ve'echad ha'mikdash del yosid meroche. They show everyone the Beis HaMikdash, but they show it to them from far. V'day l'mevi. V'izbayer oimek inyan zeh, and the Rebbe said to understand the depth of it, we'll understand based on the Pshat and the Chassidus and Vayiga Shel of Yehuda Koyres Beseinu Arozim. Did you ever see Shabbos Chazon? Did you ever see the Beis HaMikdash?
Picture.
So pictures.
3D.
We have to see it. So there's 2 points here. Number one, it says l'chol echad ve'echad. By the way, it's an acronym. It never says, what does it mean l'chol echad ve'echad? It could mean l'chol echad ve'achas. Every single Jew gets to see it in Shabbos Chazon. Who do we want to show it to? The big tzaddikim? That's not the point. The point is for those that might be irresponsible. So in other words, every single Jew sees it, and the purpose is for those that are irresponsible. Those Jews we usually say they're Malayim mitzvahs kedimin, they're filled with mitzvahs like a pomegranate. Those are the people, the Eibush, not also those Jews. After these Jews. That's the whole thing. And number two, we say that this vision is so strong that it actually works. It makes that the child, step by step, becomes more mature. How does it work? That's the bottom line. So, there's 2 ways of understanding it. One way of understanding it, our sages say that there's heavenly voices that come out. Not the regular cruise, not the cruise control. The opposite of a cruise control. It gives you a jolt, these cruises. There's cruzim milyonim, the heavenly voices. And every mishmorah, the Gemara says in the beginning of Brachos, in the night, the Eibush does Noyim Kari, he screams like a lion. He wails, he says, Oy loy la'av shehigla esbonim, oy loy la'bonim shehiglo esam al shulchan aviyam. Woe to my children, he says that I destroyed the Beis HaMikdash with their sins, and the Eibush cries. And then we have a Gemara Chagiga, the Rabbi Meir, his Rebbe said, I heard a heavenly voice, Shuva Bonim Shevavim. Children, return to me. Then we have a Mesachas Avos that we learn in the summer. It says V'chol Yom V'yom Baskel. It says Machrezes Yotzes Mahar Chodev, that there is a heavenly voice from Har Chodev about the people that forsake the Torah. Whoever hears the cruise, this is supposed to give you a jolt. It's supposed to remind you. Whoever hears it. So the Alter Rebbe says, look at the Torah from the Baal Shem Tov. You might not hear it. The neshama hears it. And from the neshama, there is a reflection of it, sometimes a person in their body. Sometimes a person all of a sudden feels his oidus, an excitement. It really comes from that kruzim al yoinim. All of a sudden you feel anxious. You don't belong here. What's going on? So you just open the refrigerator, you just try to find the Coca-Cola, maybe a bottle of beer. It's really the neshama heard those heavenly voices, and the neshama made you uncomfortable right now. The goyim, they don't have this. They don't have it like we have it, at least. You know, they live a good life. But you all of a sudden gets anxious. Wasa geshen. The neshama heard some cruise, some powerful message, and it gives that message into the body, like the Gemara says about Daniel and his friends. He says, I saw the vision, but the people next to me, they were trembling. Hananya, Mishael, Azariah. The Gemara says, why? The Gemara says, even though they didn't see the vision, but their mazel did see. What does that mean? It says, the neshama, which is not revealed to us, but the essence of the neshama, which is noizel, which leaks into us also. That part of the neshama saw the vision good and well. That's why they started to tremble. It happens sometimes. A person starts to tremble. But what is it really? It is the neshama is telling us, take a Likutei Torah and open it up and get into it. Or take a Tehillim and open it up and get into it. And then you'll feel satisfaction. The Alter Rebbe says in the Likutei Torah and the Maimar Odom Ki Yakriv that there are people that complain to him. They say that for sometimes there's over they daven geschmack, and it goes on for a few days, sometimes for a few weeks. They feel the presence of Hashem. They feel davening. It's coming out of their heart, and their soul is on fire. And all of a sudden, the lights are off. They're dead. It's just not going. What happened? They came complaining to Alter Rebbe. Alter Rebbe was a Rebbe for many years. People would come, but he realized the pattern. Here was a pattern. People were coming with the same issue. What's going on? So the Alter Rebbe diagnosed it. He said the diagnosis is a sarusa de l'ela missing a sarusa de l'tata. That's the diagnosis. There's a heavenly cruise that finally touched you, and you listened to it, and you're davening with that energy. But you didn't work on making that your own. If you work hard and you work beyond what that Yisodidus is, and you hold on to it, it becomes yours. And it's not lost easily. But otherwise, easy come, easy go. It comes from heaven. It's a Yisodidus, Isarusa de le'ela, but you're not a vessel to hold on to it. If you plow and you plant, it rains, it grows. But if you don't plow and plant, it rains, something grows, but it's not the same. So here, there's a sarusa de li'ela. If there's no sarusa de latata, it will not have an everlasting effect. So, Dr. Rebbe here, that Tzemach Tzedek brings from the Hillel Paritcher, from the Levi Yitzchak, that the Eibishter does this once a year. He shows us the Beis HaMikdash, because this way we're going to change. We're going to change. You tell me it's like all the other cruzim? But all the other cruzim are not guaranteed that they're going to change us. We see the fact as it doesn't sometimes. It's a sarusa de li'ela that doesn't get hit. We don't hold on to it. It comes, and if we don't grab onto it, we lose it. So how? But here, Shabbos chazon, you're telling me it's not true. You're telling me that this is going to change year after year. The Yidden are coming more trustworthy, and finally the Beis HaMikdash is going to come down. How does that work? How does that work? So the Rebbe says like this. In the mashal, the father immediately gives him the second cloak. The third one he doesn't give him right away. Why? Second, I mean, in the mashal, the father doesn't get the message till after 2 times that this kid is just ripping it up. But in the Nimshal, the Eibishter, Klapishmaya Galia, the Eibishter doesn't make mistakes. It's not like, hit and miss. He tried 2 times, those failed. He said the 3rd time I'm chicken little. I'm not investing anymore. I see every time I invest, I lose. It doesn't work that way. It's just that the first 2 Beis HaMikdash, the Zohar says there was a binyona de kutshe de barnash. It says in the pasuk of Tehillim, Im Hashem lo yivna bayis shov omlu boinav boy. If Hashem won't build a house, the builders are wasting their time in building. Shov omlu boinav. They're toiling for no reason. The Zohar says the first is like a Beis HaMikdash, because they were built by human beings. Shov omlu boinav boy, because eventually there's a churban. But binyon at the kutshe brichu, there will never be a churban. The 3rd Beis HaMikdash is not going to be binyon at the barnash. It'll be binyon at the kutshe brichu. God is going to build it. Because God is going to build it, can never be destroyed. So because just like our avodas Hashem has to be similar to the reward, right? The reward you get is based on what you put in. In the 3rd Beis HaMikdash, the Jews have to be trustworthy that their avodas Hashem is not just 1 day, 2 days. That this is something which is lo yachzer l'surei. They're never going to return back to the crooked ways. Just like the Beis HaMikdash itself is everlasting, there has to be that their avodas Hashem is everlasting. That's one pshat about the difference of 1st and 2nd and the 3rd Beis HaMikdash. There's another pshat that's brought in Chassidus. For example, the Ramban says there's a story in the Torah. It seems to be like an insignificant story. Yitzchak goes, he digs a well. A couple of thugs come, and they have an argument over it. The Plishtim come, not what changed. The Plishtim always. The Jews come to a place, the Plishtim come, they say it belongs to us. Chevron is yours? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's our heritage. Okay. That's no different. That's the Plishtim. That's the Plishtim. So that was Asik. They went to 2nd place. They dug a well. Sitna again. Finally, 3rd place was Rechayvus. Hirchev Hashem alonu v'farina ba'aretz. 6 psukim telling an emperor whatever. Yitzchak went. He dug a well. The Plishtim came. What's the point of the story? So he says the point of the story is that to tell us there's going to be 3 Batei Mikdashos. The first one the Jews are going to have is going to be Asik. There's going to be many wars over it. The 2nd Beis HaMikdash is going to be Sitna. There's going to be a lot of animosity against the Jewish people. The Semitism started from the Romans. Classic anti-Semitism. And then rolled into Christianity. Cool. That's Sitna. The 3rd Beis HaMikdash is going to be Rechayvos. There's going to be everlasting rest. So Chassidus explains like this. Why? Because the 1st Beis HaMikdash is Avram Avinu. 2nd Beis HaMikdash is Yitzchak Avinu. 3rd is Yaakov. The first is Avram Avinu. 2nd is Yitzchak. 3rd is Yaakov. Yaakov is Emes. Emes is... It never changes. That's what Emes is. It's the same Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. If the story changes from Sunday to Monday, it can't be the true story. If the story was Sunday, it was one way. And Monday, the story changed. That's not the Emes. Obviously, we're talking on a deep level of Avodas Hashem. Yaakov is the idea of Nitzchis. What does it mean on a deeper level? And better yet, how do we... So basically, we have 2 explanations of the uniqueness of the 3rd Beis HaMikdash. One is because it's binyona de kutshe brichu, because God builds it, and number 2 is because this is the midah of Yaakov, which is midah so emes, which is everlasting. What's the connection between these 2 pshatim? Between the Zohar that says the 3rd Beis HaMikdash is binyona de kutshe brichu, it's God's building, therefore it's everlasting, and with the fact that it's midah emes shel Yaakov, and therefore it's, how did the 2 pshatim go together? So like this, we have 3 Batei Mikdashos. In other words, the way the Shekhinah comes into the world, there's 3 ways. Ishin, Sheni, Shlishi. Just like Chassidus talks about. Nisan, Iyar, Sivan. The number itself tells you what it is. Yishan is Nisan, Avodas Tzadikim. Sheni is the avoid of counting, our avoid. Shlishi is have both miles put together. First Beis Hamikdash is Avraham Avinu Chesed. What's Chesed? Chesed is always Mayim. Yerdim Emakam Gavoya Lanakam Nomoch. It's coming down. That's Chesed. Chesed is coming down. However, it could stop. It's Shaykh, it should stop. The second Beis Hamikdash was Yitzchak. Yitzchak is Gevura. There's a certain Maila in the second Beis Hamikdash over. Some Maimonim says the second Beis Hamikdash was not as good. And that's the way it seems in some places in Chazal. Other Maimonim say no. It was nicer and it was bigger and it was for longer. So again, some places talk about the fact that it was missing stuff. Another one says no, but it was bigger, it was better, it was nicer. Why? Because that's the question is what. Because there is a point to say that Gvura has a mile over Chesed. In Avodas Hashem we say Chesed means that it's Arusa Delayla, it's God gives it to me. Gvura is it's my Avodas Hashem. In my Avodas Hashem there's two miles. Number one, it's deeper in me, like the Alter Rebbe says, it's everlasting because it comes from me. It's not something that's superimposed, something came and they started to do, it comes and goes. It's from me. But not only it's deeper in me, but it also because the Eibishter wants Lamaisi Adecha Tichsav, he wants to avoid the Yid Davka, because that's the way that for whatever reason, that's the way it is. So it brings down a stronger light. So there's a certain Maila in the second Beis Hamikdash. But the third Beis Hamikdash has both Mailas put together. Therefore, the first Beis Hamikdash was Avodas Tzadikim. It's great. It brings the godliness down. However, it could be a Churban. Second Beis Hamikdash was even better because it had the Maila Bali Tshuva. But also, it's godly. Kvod Abayis says Achim and Yishin. It was better. It was bigger and better, but still, it was able to be destroyed. The third Beis Hamikdash, because it has both Mailas together, the world which is limited is going to be infused with Bli Gvul, so it will be everlasting. So what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it even mean? How does that happen? How does that happen? So the Rebbe, a lot of times Chassidus, one of the big Mekubalim, the last Mekubalim in Spain, that Meir Ibn Gabbai said in a Sefer, he says it's a mistake for people to say that God is infinite. Kashem sheyesh lekoyach bebilti bal gvul kach yesh lekoyach begvul. You can't say God is dim loikem atamachas shlemusay. Says God, if you say God can only be infinite, cannot be finite. You got to be careful when you say that. Said the Meir Ibn Gabbai. So similar to that, Chassidus says in the Hemshech Tov Reish Samach Beis that if you ultimately God Himself to say that the Eibishter is only Bli Gvul or Gvul, but you can't have both. You can't have it's Gvul, limit, or limitless. It's finite or infinite. Which one is it? You got to choose. Is it finite or infinite? So that some of us says, sorry, you can't limit God to being that way. Shlilas HaGvul u'shlilas HaBli Gvul. You can't limit God. You can't say, oh, listen, God, you're almighty. If you want, you can be infinite. And if you want, you can be finite. But you got to pick one or not the other. So the Eibishter himself, if you're talking about godly revelation, the way it's Rishon, Sheni, from the Maila, from the Mata, it could be Gvul, it could be Bli Gvul, but the two don't go together. But B'yom HaShlishi Yikimenu V'nichyi Lefonov, in the Eibishter himself, he's not limited. The Eibishter, you can't tell him, look, you're great. You could be Gvul or Bli Gvul. You could be finite, you're infinite. You can't fuse the two together. Sorry, sir. You can't do that. You can have the elephant and you have the eye of the needle. You could stretch the eye of the needle because God can do any trick and He can allow the elephant to walk through the eye of the needle. Or you could put the elephant on a diet. You could shrink the elephant and can walk through the eye of the needle. Now you're going to tell me that you're going to make that the elephant stays as large as an elephant, and the eye of the needle is going to stay as small as the eye of the needle, and then they're going to walk by. Sorry, yeah, that you can't. Sorry, God. The Rashba said that that's a mistake.
But
the Kodesh Baruch Hu could do it. So that's why he says in Samach Vav that Kodesh Baruch Hu is Shlilas HaGvul Shlilas HaGvul. So therefore, if you're talking about this first Beis HaMikdash, that was Maila. The second Beis HaMikdash is Mata. Here is the finite, infinite. Each one has a Maila. The Avodas Hashem comes from heaven. The Avodas Hashem comes from earth. One is finite, one is infinite. Each one has a Maila. But they don't go together. But the Rebbeinu Shalom itself, when he builds the third Beis HaMikdash, he could make that in the finite building, which is Yaakov Avinu's Beis HaMikdash, there could be the infinite Rebbeinu Shalom in it, in a way that it can never be destroyed. What does it mean in our Avodas Hashem? Well, that's the idea of Shabbos chazon. Usually we say, if it's my Avodas Hashem, it's small, but it's everlasting. It comes from heaven, easy come and easy go. It's powerful. It davens with the Yisodis for 3 weeks, it fizzles out, it dies, because it's not me. I'm not davening, it's like my neshama is shining in me right now. So there's a mile in this, there's a mile in that. It's finite and infinite. There's a godly light that shines in me, and all of a sudden I'm in fire. Or it's my own Avodas Hashem, but it's small. This is big, easy come, easy go. This is small, but it's everlasting. Which one do you like? There's a mile in this, there's a mile in that. The Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, you're going to have both together. My Avodas Hashem, but it'll be so powerful that it'll have the bleak vul, it'll be infinite, it will be everlasting. So therefore, that's the Shabbos chazon, is that we say it's different than all the heavenly voices. Every heavenly voice might be that it doesn't affect me. But this Shabbos chazon, because it's something to do with the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, has both milas. The thing is, you got to put your hand in the bucket and pull out that shmata. You got to pull out that mitten. You can't just stand there and look. When they show it to you, you got to put your hand in and you got to grab it, and you got to take it. And when you take it and you hold on to it with Shabbos chazon, then you're guaranteed that it's going to have not only an effect on our neshama, but it'll have both milas. It'll have the mila of something that we earned, something that we worked on, so it's everlasting. But it's not going to be that small yisodis that comes from us. It's going to have that power to change our nature, that we become different people, special people, spiritual people, holy people, people that are worthy to get the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. That's why Shabbos chazon is that most special Shabbos in the entire year. Because Shabbos chazon is different than all the heavenly crews. It has both milas. It has the mile of the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. It's Yaakov Avinu. It has the mile mata together. Why? Because the binyan of the Kudsha B'rich is the Eivish is building. That's why this Shabbos, make sure you. When I was a kid, when I used to hear the mashal, I always used to think that when do we see it? When do we see it? Probably when we sleep. I used to hope that at night, when I go to sleep, I'll see the vision of the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. Seriously, I always used to go to bed, Shabbos chazon. I was hoping that when I wake up in the morning, I've seen the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi. I sleep kedavoy. I don't remember what I dreamed. So I used to be disappointed. I don't see. We don't have to. You know, they say that the Rav Kahanman Ponovich, when he was collecting the early years, Rosh Yeshiva Ponovich was collecting money to build up his yeshiva. They said the all European Jews said, Rebbe, you're cholomt. You're dreaming. He said he's going to build a big yeshiva and he's going to make. They said, the old Europeans said to him, Rebbe, you're cholomt. You're dreaming. So they said that if Kahneman used to say, yeah, I'm dreaming, but I'm not sleeping. So we have to make sure that this Shabbos chazon, that we're dreaming, but we're not sleeping. We have to put our hand in the bucket, and we got to grab that beged, that third beged, while we have it this Shabbos, and not let it disappear. We have to grab onto that Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, and the Eibusher should be zoichet, that every one of us should feel that He's ordered us in us. We should have both milas. It should be our avodah, but it should be an avodah which is infinite, not just lasting a few weeks, but it'll last the whole year. And this should have a geula protis, which the whole Klal Yisrael should have a geula klolis with the bias Mashiach Tzidkenu, with the recoming of the Beis HaMikdash.